Hello, and welcome to the Jesus and a Cup of Joe podcast, the show that brings you a conversation about Jesus, the Bible, and life. Here is your host, Royce Bottoms.
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, "My Pledge," he had written these words: "America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone." We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
What you just heard was a speech that was given in 1984 by former President Ronald Reagan. Welcome to Jesus and a Cup of Joe. This is a Memorial Day special to remember the men and women who have sacrificed in the name of freedom, in the name of this country. Just listening to that speech for 3 minutes sent chills down my spine just listening. Now, granted, 1984 was not mentioned, obviously, with the Afghan War and the Iraq War and all the wars that's followed since Vietnam. But nevertheless, we will never forget all the sacrifices that's been made for this great country. Memorial Day is to remember the sacrifice, to remember what the men and women of this great country in uniform has given us, because they have given their lives. The family of these service people also sacrificed. They allowed their loved ones to go and join the military and to serve this great country. So today I want to pay honor and just really make Memorial Day the forefront. I know it's Memorial Day weekend. I know everybody is going on vacation, whether you're flying or you're on a cruise or whether you're going by car to the beach, mountains, or wherever you're going. All the kids are now out of school and they got the summer ahead of them. But to start this off, I want to make sure that we really know why we're able to enjoy the things of the summer. To be able to enjoy the things of this country is because of the ultimate sacrifice that was done. If we look at John 15:13, it reads, "Greater love than no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." That's what Jesus spoke to the disciples when he was telling them about the greatest sacrifice of all, sacrificing one's life for the friend. And Jesus did it for us, did he not? When he went to the cross, when he paid the ultimate price for you and I in the name of love, because he paid that price with his life of sin. Because the Bible tells us that the wages of sin is death. And we know that without Jesus and without salvation, we would be heading to a devil's hell, and that we would have to pay the price of death. But because of what Jesus did, allowed us to be where we're at today. Just like the men and women, what they did allows us to be in the country that we are in today. Even if you go back to the very beginnings of wars, when this country broke away from Britain to establish its own self and its own governing body, all the way up to the war that just ended several years ago in Afghanistan, and all the brave men and women who are still injured, who are, they have scars, whether they're emotional or physical scars, they have them. So we need to remember that. We need to remember every time that we see a veteran or we hear of a veteran's passing, that we need to pray for that family, but we need to thank God that we had the opportunity to see them, maybe meet them, or spend time with them. Like I said, I know summer's here. I know Memorial Day episode like this is probably not the cheery, exciting thing that you want to start off your vacation, but it needs to be a sober reminder of who we are, where we came from, and where we're going. You know, we have enemies here in this country that is around us all the time. We may or may not be able to see them, but we have them. So, to draw your attention to an oath of enlistment. This is an oath that men and women take when they join the armed forces. And it says, "I state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic." Remember, domestic. "That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God." I took that oath in 1991. I took that oath. I served 4 years active duty with the United States Army, and then I served 6 additional years with the Georgia State Guard, the National Guard. And you know what? It was my honor and my privilege to be able to serve in this great country. Now, granted, you had Desert Storm going on, then you had Bosnia, you had Somalia, you had all of these additional conflicts that were coming around in the 90s. You know, you had the first bombing of the World Trade Center. You had the Oklahoma federal bombings. You had all of this because the evil was here in this country. But the brave men and women, they stood up. They stood up and they fought back against that tyranny, and they still doing it today. There may not be a war to fight, but we still need to be vigilant, and we still need to be on the lookout for evil. Just as Christians in our lives, we need to be on the lookout for the devil, because we know that the devil is prowling around like a roaring lion. He's looking for something to devour, and he's looking to come and attack us. We know that because the scriptures tell us. So when you get ready to enjoy this wonderful time of the year of Memorial Day, being able to go out and celebrate, maybe grill out with friends and family, first and foremost, give thanks for the reason you have it. Give thanks for the reason you're able to live in a country that is free. Be able to give thanks to know that everything that you have in your life has been paid for in one fashion or another, either with blood, sweat, or tears. It's been paid for. So as we get ready to pay complete respects to the men and women and celebrate this wonderful holiday on Monday, we need to take time to pause and thank God for their sacrifices and for their family who sacrificed, because it was the family who suffers the most. Of having their loved ones leave the house and not knowing if they'll ever come home. Having children have their fathers and their mothers leave out of the house and wonder, is daddy and mommy coming home? Those are things that most Americans don't ever pay attention to or don't even see, because all they see is what the news media may or may not show you. All right. So that's why it's very important for me to not only remember who sacrificed, but also go around thanking veterans for their service. Because whether it's Memorial Day, whether it's Veterans Day or Armed Forces Day, this country needs to remember why we are free. This country also needs to understand, come the 4th of July, why it's called Independence Day. Because they fought against tyranny, against a British rule that was choking out this new world. We need to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that the tyranny that I'm speaking of is still happening today. It's just dressed up a little different, and it's called a different name. So we have to take and be able to respond. But as Christians, we also have to fight the front of knowing that the devil himself is out there and he's attacking us. Everyone in the world wants to stomp out Christianity because they are so afraid of Jesus. So that's what we also have to pay attention to. I know this is a lot to take in. Like I said, it's just the fact of being able to celebrate this wonderful day, to be able to celebrate the whole reasoning for this, and to know that Jesus was telling the disciples that there was no greater love than a person who is willing to lay down their lives for them. Being in the fire service as long as I've been in the past, almost 20 years, and that was also an honor. I worked with a great men and women who are no longer with us. They're no longer on this earth because they also paid the ultimate price. They paid the ultimate price whether they were killed in the line of duty or whether they died because of an injury. But they paid the ultimate sacrifice. So every person who wears a uniform, who puts themselves in harm's way, those are the ones we need to embrace and say thank you. Those are the ones we need to say, God bless you for doing what you're doing. Because I'm a firm believer that God calls each and every person to a particular job. So what is the job for you and I? You have to figure that out. Just like I had to figure out that my passion was the military, my passion is the fire service, and the job that I'm doing now is something I enjoy doing. I know that I'm where I need to be because that's where God needs me. So now you have to ask yourself, where does God need you? Are you doing what God needs you to do? And if you're listening to this episode today, and I'm be honest with you, and you don't know Jesus as your Savior, what better day than to honor the men and women for their sacrifice is to turn your life over to the Lord, to claim that this day could be your day of celebration of knowing that you are not bound for a devil's hell. It's easy to sit here and tell you behind a microphone all of this and explain all of this and play the audio tracks and everything. And I know it's different versus going out here and doing it. But I'm here to tell you, all right, first and foremost, I love God with all of my heart, with all of my soul, with all of my being. And I love this country the same way. And I also love my family. My country means a great deal to me. Being able to serve the United States of America was one of the greatest honors I've ever had, besides serving the Lord. So as I get ready to wrap up, this is going to be a very short one, but I just want to say this. May God bless each and every one of you that is listening. And I pray for safe travel mercies as you get ready to travel on Memorial Day weekend and enjoy your time with your friends and family. But I just want to ask you to do this. Take time on Monday to stop and pay respects to the brave men and women who deserves it. So I want to thank all of you for listening today, for doing everything you can to support Jesus in a Cup of Joe. It is my honor and my privilege to be able to do this. I want to encourage all of you guys to go to JesusInACupOfJoe.com, to our website. You can check out all of the latest episodes, the videos, merchandise store, you name it, it's all there. I want to encourage you to do that. So as we get ready to wrap up, it's very simple. You always start your day with Jesus in a Cup of Joe. God bless.